Mina loved the bright colors of Nexus Station. The 7-year-old girl pressed her face against the transparent walls and watched ships arrive from distant stars. Her mother worked here, fixing the big machines that kept the station running. Today was special because Hana promised to buy her a new toy after work. The commercial district was crowded with aliens from hundreds of worlds. Mina had learned not to stare, even though some looked like walking crystals and others had too many arms. The small toy drone she'd just bought floated above her head, making happy beeping sounds. She laughed and chased it through the corridor. The drone zipped left, and Mina followed. She didn't see the tall alien officer until she bumped into his leg. "Sorry," Mina said quickly, looking up. Commander Veltar of the Arithian Empire looked down at the small human child. His crystalline body reflected the station lights, making rainbow patterns on the walls. His people were old and powerful. They had ruled star systems when humans still lived in caves, and this primitive creature had touched him. "Filthy Deathworlder," Veltar hissed. His voice sounded like breaking glass. Mina took a step back. She didn't understand the word, but she knew anger when she heard it. "I said sorry, mister. I didn't mean to—" The blow came fast. Veltar's serrated appendage struck across her face. The sharp edges cut deep. Mina fell to the floor, blood running from her cheek. She screamed. People stopped. Some aliens backed away quickly. Others stared in shock. A Centaurian merchant activated his communication device. The station's security cameras recorded everything. Tay was restocking shelves in the nearby shop when he heard the scream. He ran out and saw Mina on the floor, crying and bleeding. The Arithian officer stood over her, his appendage still raised. "What did you do?" Tay shouted. He grabbed a medical kit from the wall and knelt beside Mina. His hands shook as he pressed bandages to her face. Veltar looked at him with cold eyes. "The creature touched me. I corrected its behavior." "She's a child," Tay said. He picked up Mina carefully. She buried her face in his shoulder, still crying. Blood soaked through the bandages. Station security arrived within minutes. 2 officers, 1 Brevian and 1 Talth, approached Commander Veltar. "Sir, you need to come with us," the Brevian officer said carefully. Veltar straightened his uniform. "I have diplomatic immunity. This matter does not concern your station security. A child was injured. We must file a report. File whatever you wish. I will be in the Arithian embassy if the council requires my statement." Veltar walked away. The security officers looked at each other but did nothing to stop him. Hana received the emergency call while deep inside a maintenance shaft. At first, she didn't understand the words. Daughter, injured, medical center. She dropped her tools and ran. The medical center was on level 7. Hana burst through the doors and saw Tai sitting outside a treatment room. His clothes were covered in blood. "Where is she? Where's my daughter?" Hana's voice cracked. "They're treating her now. The doctors said—" Tai stood up. "Hana, I'm so sorry. I should have been watching the corridor." "What happened?" Tai explained everything. As he spoke, Hana's expression changed from fear to something harder, something cold. The doctor, a Talarian with 6 arms, came out. "Your daughter will be okay. The cuts are deep but clean. We sealed them with synthetic skin. She will have scars but no permanent damage. She's very brave." "Can I see her?" "Of course." Mina lay on the medical bed, her face covered with clear healing gel. The cuts looked angry and red beneath it. When she saw her mother, fresh tears came. "Mama, it hurts." Hana sat beside her and held her hand. "I know, baby. I know. I said sorry. I didn't mean to bump him. Why did he hurt me?" Hana had no answer. She just held her daughter's hand and tried not to cry. Station security came 2 hours later. They asked questions and took statements. They showed Hana the camera footage. Watching the alien officer strike her child made something break inside Hana's chest. "What will happen to him?" she asked. The Brevian officer looked uncomfortable. Commander Veltar has diplomatic immunity. We detained him briefly, but the Erythian embassy demanded his release. He's protected under Galactic Council law. He hurt my daughter. We understand. The council representative will contact you about compensation. Compensation? Hana's voice was quiet, dangerous. My daughter has scars on her face. She's 7 years old. And you're talking about money? It's protocol. We're very sorry. They left. Hana sat in the empty room and stared at the wall. On Earth, there were laws. If someone hurt a child, they faced justice, real justice. But here, millions of miles from home, alien laws protected the guilty. She activated her communication device and sent a message to her brother on Mars. June had served in the Marines before he retired. He would know what to do. The message was simple. They hurt Mina. They let him go. Help. Mina fell asleep holding her mother's hand. The medical machines beeped softly. Outside the window, ships continued arriving and leaving. The station went on with its business, but something had changed. Somewhere in the depths of human space, messages were being sent. Files were being opened. Officers were being briefed. The Galactic Council thought the matter was closed. They had followed their rules, offered their compensation. In their experience, most species accepted this and moved on. But humans were different. They protected their children, and they had very long memories. Commander Veltar sat in the Erythian embassy, drinking imported crystal wine. He had already forgotten the incident. To him, it was nothing. Just a primitive child who learned a lesson about respecting her betters. He would remember soon enough. They all would. The video reached Earth in 36 hours, not through official channels. Someone on Nexus Station uploaded the security footage to the colonial network. By morning, every human settlement from Luna to the outer colonies had seen it. A small girl chasing a toy. An alien officer striking her down, blood on the floor, the officer walking away. People watched it once, then again, they shared it. Not with angry words or calls for violence. They just shared it, let others see what had happened to one of their own. June saw the message from his sister at Oro 400 Mars time. He sat up in bed and read it 3 times. Then he activated his old military contacts. Within an hour, he was speaking with people who could make things happen. In Geneva, Ambassador Sung received a call from the Colonial Affairs Office. He listened carefully, watched the footage, and closed his eyes. He had spent 20 years building diplomatic relationships with the Galactic Council. 20 years of patience and compromise. All of it felt useless now. Prepare a formal extradition request, he told his staff. Full legal documentation. I want everything perfect. Sir, they won't approve it. The Erythian Empire never waives diplomatic immunity. Prepare it anyway. At Luna Military Command, Colonel Yuna sat in a dark room watching the footage for the 5th time. She was intelligence, not combat. Her job was finding patterns and solutions. Right now, she was looking for a legal way to do what every human wanted to do. Her terminal chimed. 3 new files appeared, flagged as priority. Colonial defense treaties drafted centuries ago when humanity first joined the Galactic Council. Most of it was standard diplomatic language. But there, in Article 7, Section 3, she found what she needed. Yuna read it twice to be certain. Then she picked up her secure line. Get me Captain Day. Tell him I have a mission. The Galactic Council met in emergency session. Ambassador Sung presented Earth's extradition request personally. The document was 847 pages long, citing every relevant law and precedent. The Council barely looked at it. Ambassador Sung, we understand human concerns, the Council chair said. His species had no face, just a cluster of sensory organs that pulsed different colors. Right now, they pulsed a calming blue. But diplomatic immunity exists for important reasons. Commander Veltar acted within his cultural context. Your daughter, not my daughter. A child named Mina, 7 years old. Yes. The child will receive compensation. The Erythian Empire has agreed to pay 50,000 credits. We don't want money. We want justice. Justice means different things to different species, Ambassador. To humans, it means punishment. To Erythians, it means maintaining proper order. We must respect all perspectives. Sung looked at the council members. Dozens of species, hundreds of worlds. Most of them had never met a human before Earth joined 10 years ago. They saw humans as newcomers. Children playing at galactic politics. Then we have nothing more to discuss, Sung said quietly. He walked out. The council continued their meeting. They voted to consider the matter resolved. Several members commented that humans were too emotional for serious diplomacy. Perhaps Earth should be demoted to observer status until they learned proper protocols. The vote was recorded. The session ended. They all went home, thinking they had handled the situation well. On the UNSC Resolute, Captain Day studied the mission briefing. He was a career soldier, 38 years old, with a face that rarely showed emotion. His team called him Stone because nothing seemed to shake him, but watching the footage of Mina made his jaw tighten. "Legal confirms we can do this?" he asked Colonel Yuna over the secure channel. Article 7, Section 3. It's old law, written when colonies were worried about being attacked. Nobody thought it would be used like this. But the language is clear. Actions against minor colony dependents by foreign military personnel can be addressed through defensive engagement protocols. The Council won't like it. The Council already made their decision. Now we make ours. Yuna paused. Captain, you're authorized to use whatever force necessary to complete this mission. But I need him alive. He stands trial under our law. Understood. Day called his team together. 40 operators, the best humanity had. They had trained together for years. Some had served in the colony defense forces, others came from Earth's special operations units. All of them volunteered for this mission within minutes of hearing about it. Listen up, Day said. Nexus Station. We're going in to extract one individual, a Erythian officer named Veltar. He's under diplomatic protection. The station will resist. Galactic defense forces will respond. We do this clean, non-lethal when possible, no civilian casualties. Questions? Rules of engagement? Asked Rena, his best pilot. Defend yourselves. Disable threats. But I want this to look professional. We're not raiders. We're law enforcement executing a legal warrant. The galaxy won't see it that way, said Quan, his breaching specialist. Then we'll teach them. On Nexus Station, Hana received a brief message on her personal device. The sender was blocked, but the message was clear. Justice is coming. Keep Mina safe. Stay in your quarters for the next 48 hours. She didn't know who sent it, but something in her chest loosened just a little. Someone was listening. Someone cared. The Erythian embassy increased security around Commander Veltar, not because they expected trouble. The additional guards were there to make a point. The Erythian Empire protected its own. No primitive species would dare challenge them. Veltar barely noticed. He spent his days in luxury, waited on by servants, eating imported foods. Sometimes he thought about the human child. Mostly he didn't. It was such a small thing, not worth his attention. On Earth, the news networks started asking questions. Why hadn't the Galactic Council acted? What was being done? The government said very little, just that the matter was being addressed through appropriate channels. People waited. Humans were good at waiting. But they didn't forget. The Resolute left Luna orbit without fanfare. No announcements. No formal departure clearance. It simply jumped to faster-than-light speed and disappeared. 47 hours later, it arrived at the edge of the Vela system. Captain Day stood on the bridge and looked at Nexus Station in the distance. A massive structure, home to millions. defended by some of the galaxy's most advanced weapons. "All teams ready," Day said. "Remember your training. We're here to bring one officer to justice. Nothing more, nothing less." "Sir, the station is hailing us," the communications officer said. "Ignore it. Proceed with approach." The Resolute moved forward. On Nexus Station, alarms began to sound. The Galactic Defense Force scrambled 3 cruisers. And somewhere in a small medical room, Mina held her mother's hand and asked why the alarms were so loud. "I don't know, baby," Hana lied, but she did know. She could feel it. Something was coming. Something unstoppable. The Deathworlders had arrived. The Resolute hung in space like a dark blade, smaller than the Galactic Defense Force cruisers, built from Earth steel and human determination. On the bridge, Captain Day watched 3 alien warships move to intercept. "Station control is demanding we leave immediately," the communications officer said. "They're threatening to open fire." "Open channel," Day ordered. When the light blinked green, he spoke calmly. "This is Captain Day of the United Nations Space Command. We are here under Article 7, Section 3 of the Colonial Defense Treaty. We require Commander Veltar of the Erythian Empire to be remanded to human custody for trial. This is not negotiable." The response came from the Galactic Defense Force flagship. "Human vessel, you are in violation of Council space. Withdraw immediately or face military action." Day looked at his tactical officer. "Minho, how long until they're in firing range?" 3 minutes, sir." "Good. That gives us time." He activated the ship-wide intercom. "All hands. Battle stations. Remember, we disable, we don't destroy. Make it clean." The 3 cruisers spread out, moving to surround the Resolute. Standard tactics. Overwhelm with numbers and firepower. It worked against most opponents. Humans were not most opponents. "Incoming fire!" Minho called out. Energy beams cut through space where the Resolute had been a second ago. But the human ship twisted away with impossible speed, engines burning at levels that should have killed the crew from acceleration forces. Inside, the crew barely felt it. Humans could handle gravity that crushed most aliens. Their ships were built to match their bodies. "Return fire," Day said. "Target their engines only." The Resolute's weapons spoke. Not the massive energy cannons the aliens expected. Instead, precise railgun rounds traveling at a fraction of light speed, solid metal that punched through shields like paper. The first cruiser lost its main engine. The second took 3 rounds through its weapon systems. The third tried to run. "Rena, don't let them call for reinforcements," Day ordered. Lieutenant Rena was already on it. Her fighter squadron launched from the Resolute's bay, small ships moving like angry wasps. They cut across the cruiser's path and disabled its communication array with surgical strikes. 17 minutes after the engagement began, 3 Galactic Defense Force cruisers floated dead in space, engines destroyed, weapons offline, crew alive, but shocked. On Nexus Station, Security Chief Orvin watched his displays in disbelief. "How is this possible? Those are our best ships." "The humans," his deputy whispered. "They're from a death world. We always knew, but we never really understood." "Seal all docking bays. Lock down the Erythian embassy sector. If they want Veltar, they'll have to come through 6 levels of reinforced hull and an army of security personnel." He was confident. Nexus Station was designed to withstand attacks from space. Even if the humans got inside, there were thousands of security officers, automated defense systems, emergency bulkheads that could seal off entire sections. It would be enough. It had to be enough. The Resolute moved alongside the station. Day studied the schematic on his display. "The embassy is here on level 23. Shortest route is through the commercial district." "Sir, the hull is rated for military-grade weapons. It'll take hours to cut through," Quan said. Day smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. "Then it's good we brought the right tools. Deploy drop teams Alpha and Beta. Everyone else, hold position and monitor. If this goes wrong, I want extraction ready. Quan gathered his team in the breaching bay. 30 operators wearing powered armor that made them look like walking tanks. Each carried weapons that fired hardened projectiles. No energy beams, just kinetic force, the way humans had fought for thousands of years. Remember, Quan said as they checked their equipment, non-lethal when possible. We're the good guys here. Act like it. Siak, the youngest member of the team, loaded his weapon with rubber rounds. Think they'll surrender peacefully? Would you? Fair point. The breaching ship detached from the Resolute. It looked like a simple cargo shuttle, but when it reached the station's hull, it extended a cutting arm that glowed white-hot. The military-grade armor lasted 14 seconds. Alarms screamed throughout Nexus Station. Orvin deployed security teams to the breach point. 24 officers in full combat gear, weapons ready. They arrived just as the humans poured through the hole. For a moment, everyone froze. The aliens had never seen humans in powered armor before. They stood over 2 meters tall, faceless helmets reflecting the corridor lights, moving with mechanical precision. Then the shooting started. Station security opened fire with energy weapons. The beams hit human armor and scattered. The operators didn't even slow down. They returned fire with rubber rounds that hit like sledgehammers. Alien officers went down, stunned but alive. Quan led his team through the commercial district. Civilians scattered, screaming in dozens of languages. The humans didn't chase them, didn't threaten them. They moved with purpose, heading straight for the embassy sector. More security teams tried to block their path. Each time, the humans simply walked through them. Weapons that worked against other aliens barely scratched human armor. And the humans fired with terrifying accuracy, never hitting civilians, always targeting specific points on alien bodies to disable without killing. In the security command center, Orvin watched his forces fall apart. How many humans are there? Scans showed 30 intruders, sir. 30? Just 30? Orvin couldn't believe it. Deploy the combat drones. Full suppression mode. The drones were built for riot control. Fast, armored, equipped with stunning weapons. 50 of them activated and swarmed toward the human breach point. Quan saw them coming on his tactical display. Rena, we've got mechanical contacts incoming. Permission to go lethal? Granted on drones only, came the reply from the Resolute. The combat drones rounded the corner at high speed. The humans were ready. Controlled bursts from their weapons shredded the drones in seconds. Metal parts clattered to the floor. Keep moving, Quan ordered. At the Arithian embassy, Commander Veltar listened to the reports with growing concern. What do you mean the humans are here? They breached the hull, sir. They're fighting their way through station security, heading this way. How many? Initial reports said 30. Veltar relaxed slightly. 30 soldiers. The embassy had over 100 guards. Well-trained Arithian warriors. Activate all defenses. No human will touch me. The embassy sealed its main door, 2 meters of hardened alloy. Automated turrets deployed from the ceiling. Guards took positions throughout the building. They waited. The explosion came without warning. The main door simply disintegrated. Quan's team had placed shaped charges that focused all the force inward. The blast echoed through the embassy halls. Then the humans walked through the smoke. The Arithian guards opened fire. Energy weapons lit up the entrance. But the humans kept coming, their armor absorbing damage that would have killed any other species. They returned fire with precision, hitting guards in the legs, arms, disabling them without killing. Veltar watched from his secure room on an upper floor. He saw his guards, trained warriors all, fall before the humans like children. The Deathworlders moved through the embassy like they owned it, unstoppable, relentless. For the first time in his long life, Commander Veltar knew real fear. The door to his room exploded inward. A massive human stepped through, armor scorched but intact. Behind his helmet, Captain Day looked at the alien officer who had struck a child. "Commander Veltar," Day said quietly, "you're coming with us." Veltar stood, trying to maintain dignity. "You have no authority here. Diplomatic immunity doesn't matter anymore." Day moved forward. "You can walk, or I can carry you. Choose." The alien looked into the human's eyes and saw something that terrified him. Not anger, not hatred, just cold, absolute purpose. "I'll walk," Veltar whispered. They led him out through the wreckage of the embassy, past unconscious guards, through corridors filled with stunned station security, onto the breaching ship that cut back through the hull. The entire operation took 33 minutes. As the Resolute prepared to jump away, Captain Day sent one final message to the Galactic Council. "Commander Veltar is now in human custody. He will face trial under our laws. This is what justice looks like." The Resolute jumped to the edge of the system and stopped. Captain Day knew the Galactic Council would respond. He wanted to be ready. In the ship's detention area, Commander Veltar sat in a cell designed for alien prisoners. The walls were clear, letting him see everything. He watched human crew members walk past, going about their duties. None of them looked at him. He was simply a task completed. Dr. Ara came to examine him. She was small for a human, barely reaching his chest, but her eyes were sharp and professional. "I need to check you for injuries," she said. "I was handled roughly by your soldiers. You'll survive, unlike the child you hurt." Ara scanned him with medical equipment. "You're healthy, strong. You outweigh that little girl by at least 6 times. Maybe 7, and you chose to hit her." "She touched me without permission." Ara looked at him for a long moment. "Where I come from, adults who hurt children are the lowest form of life. Even criminals hate them. You're lucky you're getting a trial." She left. Veltar sat alone with his thoughts. On the bridge, Minho tracked incoming ships. "Sir, we have contacts. Multiple vessels approaching from 3 directions." The Council response: "Looks like it. I count 12 ships, mix of enforcement vessels and diplomatic craft." "Open communications." A signal came through. The face on the screen belonged to Counselor Thex, a Vorlon with 3 eyes and elaborate head ridges. His species was known for negotiation skills. "Captain Day, I am here to resolve this situation peacefully. You have committed an act of war against a Council member world. Surrender Commander Veltar immediately, and we can discuss terms." "No terms to discuss," Day replied. "We executed a legal extraction under treaty law. Commander Veltar will stand trial on Earth for assault on a minor human citizen. The Galactic Council does not recognize your authority in this matter. Then the Galactic Council will learn something new today." Thex's 3 eyes narrowed. "Captain, be reasonable. The Erythian Empire is demanding Veltar's return. They have threatened military action against human colonies if he is not released." "Let them try." "You don't understand what you're dealing with. The Empire has fleets that could burn your worlds. They are ancient and powerful. Humanity is young, with only a few dozen colonies. You cannot win this fight." Day leaned forward slightly. "Counselor, let me be very clear. Commander Veltar struck a 7-year-old child. He cut her face open and walked away because he had diplomatic protection. That child's name is Mina. She likes toys and bright colors and her mother's cooking. She did nothing wrong. And your council decided that money would fix what happened to her. We followed proper procedures. Then your procedures are wrong." Day's voice remained calm, but there was steel in it. "Earth will not surrender Veltar. If the Erythian Empire wants war, we will give them war. If the Council wants to enforce sanctions, we will withdraw from all treaties and govern our colonies independently. Make your choice." Thex was silent for a moment. Then he said, I need to consult with the full council. This is beyond my authority. You have 6 hours. After that, we jump to Earth with our prisoner." The connection ended. Day turned to his crew. "Get some rest. This isn't over yet." In the system's capital world, the Galactic Council held an emergency session. Every major species sent representatives. The hall was filled with aliens of every size and shape, all arguing at once. "The humans have gone too far. They violated council sovereignty. This cannot stand." But there were quieter voices, too. Voices that had watched the security footage from Nexus Station. Watched 30 humans fight through thousands of defenders and take what they wanted. "We underestimated them," one counselor said. "They're from a death world. We always knew." Knowing and understanding are different things. Did you see the combat footage? Their ships move at speeds that would kill our pilots. Their soldiers walk through our weapons like they were toys. And this was just 40 of them. How many more do they have? Someone checked the human military records. Records that Earth had submitted when joining the Council, but nobody had really examined. Why would they? Humans seemed peaceful, cooperative, eager to fit in. "According to their documents," the counselor said slowly, "Earth maintains a standing military force of 14 million personnel, another 50 million in reserves, and these numbers are from 5 years ago." The hall went quiet. 14 million? Like the soldiers we saw on Nexus Station? The report classifies them as special forces, elite units. But yes, trained to those standards. "By the Void," someone whispered. High Ambassador Vorn of the Erythian Empire stood. His crystalline body caught the light, making him shine. "It does not matter how many soldiers they have. The Empire will not be disrespected by primitives. Veltar must be returned, or we will demonstrate why we have ruled for 10,000 years. "And if they destroy your fleets like they destroyed ours?" another counselor asked. The Defense Force ships were disabled in minutes. "Those were escort vessels, light patrol craft. Our war fleet is different." "Is it?" The humans held back. "They could have killed everyone on those ships. They chose not to. That's not weakness, Ambassador. That's discipline. And discipline is more frightening than rage." Colonel Yuna appeared on the communication screen from Earth. Her face was calm, but her eyes were hard. "Counselors," she said, "Earth wishes to avoid conflict, but we will not compromise on this matter. Commander Veltar hurt a human child. Our laws say he must face justice. Your laws say he cannot. One of us must bend." "You're asking the entire Galactic Council to change its protocols?" Thex said. "No. We're asking you to recognize that diplomatic immunity has limits. Children must be protected. All children. Every species. If an ambassador or officer harms a child, they face consequences. Is that really so unreasonable?" The counselors looked at each other. When Yuna put it that way, it was hard to argue against. But changing council protocols meant admitting the humans were right. It meant every empire would have to accept new limitations on their power. "And if we refuse," Vorn demanded, "then Earth withdraws from the Galactic Council. We govern our colonies independently, and every human ship, every human world operates outside your laws. Is that what you want? Deathworlders with no treaties to restrain them?" The threat hung in the air. The Council had spent centuries building a system of laws that kept powerful species from destroying weaker ones. If humanity left that system, they would be unpredictable, dangerous. "Give us time to consider," Thex said. "You have 6 hours," Yuna replied. "Same as Captain Day. After that, Veltar goes to Earth for trial, with or without your approval." The screen went dark. On the Resolute, Captain Day walked through the ship. He passed crew members cleaning weapons, running system checks, preparing for whatever came next. They were ready. They had always been ready. He stopped outside the detention area and looked through the window at Veltar. The alien officer sat with his head in his hands. Siak was on guard duty. The young operator stood at attention when Day approached. "How's our prisoner?" Day asked. "Quiet, sir. I think he's starting to understand." "Understand what?" "That he hurt someone's child. And on Earth, that's the one thing you don't do." Day nodded slowly. "Before we took him, Hana was there. The girl's mother. She was standing in the corridor with Mina, just watching us. Veltar saw them. I saw his face change. Maybe that's when it hit him. What he'd actually done." "Do you think he's sorry?" "I think he's scared." "Maybe that's enough." A communication alert sounded. Minho's voice came through. "Captain, we're receiving a priority message from the Council. They want to talk." Day straightened his uniform. "Patch them through. Let's see if they've learned anything." He walked back to the bridge, leaving Siak to watch over the prisoner who had started something bigger than anyone expected, a small act of violence against one child. And in response, the humans had shown the galaxy what it meant to protect your own. The Galactic Council was about to make a choice. Either they adapted to humanity's values, or they faced a future where Deathworlders operated outside any rules at all. It wasn't much of a choice when put that way. 3 months later, Geneva's International Criminal Court stood ready for its first galactic case. The building was old by human standards, built centuries ago when Earth's nations first tried to create justice that crossed borders. Now it would serve the same purpose across star systems. Judge Bora Kim entered the courtroom. She was 70 years old, with gray hair and steady hands. She had overseen war crime trials, terrorism cases, crimes that shocked the conscience. This case was different. The whole galaxy was watching. "All rise," the bailiff said. The courtroom was packed. Human observers filled most seats, but there were also aliens, species from across the council who had come to see how humans handled justice. Some were curious, others were angry, all were watching carefully. Commander Veltar sat at the defense table. He wore simple clothes, not his military uniform. His crystalline body seemed duller now, less bright. 3 months in human custody had changed him. "Commander Veltar," Judge Kim said, "you are charged with aggravated assault on a minor. How do you plead?" The translator converted her words into Arithian sounds. Veltar listened, then spoke. His voice was quiet. "Guilty." A murmur went through the courtroom. The Arithian ambassador, sitting in the observer section, closed his eyes. There would be no long trial, no political theater, just simple truth. "The court accepts your plea," Judge Kim said. "Does the victim wish to speak?" Hana stood. She had thought about this moment for months. What she would say, how she would express her anger. But when she looked at Veltar, she felt mostly tired. "My daughter is 8 now," Hana said. "She has scars on her face that will never fully go away. She has nightmares sometimes. She's afraid of certain aliens even though I tell her most are good people. You took something from her that day. Innocence, trust, the belief that adults would protect her." Veltar looked down. "But she's healing," Hana continued. "She's back in school. She plays with friends. She laughs again. Children are strong that way. Stronger than adults sometimes. What you did was terrible, but it didn't break her." She sat down. Mina, sitting beside her, held her mother's hand. The scars on her face had faded but were still visible. She looked at Veltar without fear now, just curiosity. The trial lasted 2 days. Witnesses testified. Medical experts described Mina's injuries. Security footage played. Throughout it all, Veltar said very little. He had no defense. He had hurt a child. The evidence was clear. On the second day, Judge Kim delivered her sentence. "Commander Veltar, you used your position of power and your physical strength to harm someone weaker than you. Someone who could not defend themselves. A child. This court finds your actions criminal and deserving of punishment." You are sentenced to 8 years in a correctional facility designed for alien prisoners. Additionally, the Erythian Empire will pay restitution to the victim and her family." She paused. "But this case is about more than one crime. It's about how different species interact, how we protect the vulnerable, how we ensure justice crosses cultural lines. The Galactic Council must remember that laws mean nothing if they protect the guilty and ignore the victims." The gavel came down. Veltar was led away. He would serve his time on a prison station orbiting Jupiter. Not comfortable, but not cruel. Humans didn't believe in torture, even for those who hurt children. Outside the courthouse, Ambassador Sung stood before cameras from hundreds of worlds. "Today justice was served," he said. "Not revenge, not political theater, justice." A child was hurt. The one who hurt her faced consequences. This is how it should work. A reporter asked, "What about the Galactic Council? Have they changed their diplomatic immunity laws?" Sung smiled slightly. "The Council announced new protocols last week. Diplomatic immunity no longer applies to crimes against minors. Any adult, regardless of rank or position, who harms a child will face prosecution. All species, all worlds. This is now galactic law. Some say Earth forced this change through military action. We enforced existing treaties. The Council chose to evolve their understanding of justice. Sometimes change requires courage. Sometimes it requires someone to say, 'Enough.'" On Nexus Station, life had returned to normal, sort of. The damage from the human raid had been repaired. Station security had new training protocols, and there were new officers walking the corridors, human officers. Commander Jin led the joint human-galactic security force. He was older than most officers, with gray at his temples and a calm manner. His team worked alongside alien security, learning from each other. "Incident report?" Jin asked his deputy, a Talarian named Kix. "Mostly minor. One drunk Phylaxian trying to start a fight, a shop theft, and a complaint about noise from level 8. Kix paused. "The civilians say they feel safer now. The humans make them nervous but safe." "Good. That's the idea." In the commercial district, the place where Mina had been hurt, there was now a small garden. Nothing fancy. Just plants from different worlds, growing together in a shared space. A plaque read, "For children of all species. May they play without fear." Kids ran through the garden every day. Human children, alien children, playing together. Sometimes their parents watched nervously. But the children didn't care about species differences. They just wanted to have fun. Mina visited sometimes. She was back on the station with her mother. The first few weeks were hard. She was scared of the places that reminded her of that day. But Nari, her therapist, helped her work through it. "You're very brave," Nari said during one session. "I don't feel brave. I still get scared." Being brave doesn't mean not feeling scared. It means doing things even when you're scared. You came back to the station. That took courage. Mina thought about that. "The alien who hurt me, is he in jail?" "Yes. For a long time." "Good. I hope he learns not to hurt people." Nari smiled. "Me too." On Earth, Captain Day had returned to training exercises. His team was back to regular duties. The mission to Nexus Station was already becoming legend among human forces, but Day didn't encourage the stories. "We did what needed to be done," he told younger officers who asked about it. "Nothing more. The real victory was changing the system so no other child goes through what Mina did." In his personal quarters, he kept a photo message that Hana had sent. Mina smiling, playing with friends, her scars visible but not defining her. No words accompanied it. None were needed. The Galactic Council met regularly now with human representatives. The relationship was different, less about humans trying to fit in, more about mutual respect. The other species had learned an important lesson. Deathworlders could be diplomatic, could follow rules, could work within the system, until someone hurt their children. Then the rules changed. Ambassador Sung gave a speech to new council members from recently joined worlds. He talked about cooperation and understanding, about building relationships across species. And then he said something that became famous. "We came to your systems in peace. We followed your laws even when they seemed unfair. We compromised on trade. We negotiated on territory. We bent on many things because we wanted to be good galactic citizens. But understand this about humanity. We protect our children. Always. That is the line we will never cross. Harm a human child, and you will discover why Earth is called a death world. Not because we are savage, but because we are loving. And love makes us unstoppable." The speech was translated into 1,000 languages, played on worlds across the galaxy. Some species found it threatening, others found it admirable. But everyone understood it. Years passed. Mina grew up. Her scars faded more, though they never fully disappeared. She became a teacher, working on Nexus Station, helping children from all species learn together. Sometimes kids asked about her scars. "I got hurt when I was little," she would say. "But I'm okay now." And because of what happened, new laws were made. Better laws. Laws that protect all children. Sometimes bad things lead to good changes. Commander Veltar served his sentence. When he was released, he returned to the Arithian Empire. He never spoke publicly about his time in human prison, but he was different. Quieter. He worked in administrative roles, far from any position of power over others. Some said he was broken, others said he finally learned what it meant to face consequences. Either way, he never hurt anyone again. The garden on Nexus Station grew larger over the years. More species added plants, more children played there. It became a symbol of something important. That justice could cross cultural lines, that protecting the innocent mattered more than protecting the powerful, and if sometimes a human soldier walked through the garden, watching the children play, making sure they were safe, no one commented on it. It was just understood. Humans protected their children, and in doing so, they had changed the galaxy, made it a little bit safer for everyone, not through conquest or domination, but through the simple, stubborn insistence that some things were wrong no matter what culture you came from. That hitting a child was one of those things. That justice meant something. And that Deathworlders, when properly motivated, were unstoppable. The galaxy had learned, and it would never forget.